Today I'm shipping out the largest volume of pond products ever to Africa, and I'm picking out massive boulders that we identified from the helicopter trip. This massive project located right down here in southern Africa is just going to be unbelievable. The actual design, the layout, the whole concept of it as this project weaves its way in between these buildings, and it literally is mimicking a natural water ecosystem. We have massive boulders that we're pulling out from the surrounding hillsides. These are going to be a logistical challenge in every way possible. We have teams of people that are taking pathways up into the mountains where we could actually extract these stones. So we have to come in with bulldozers, we have to level everything out, we have to dig these boulders from the side of the hillside, and then we have to grab them with a crane, bring them down, take them off the truck, and then restrap them and set them into the location, their final location. The amount of people, the amount of heavy equipment is just unbelievable, but it's all going to be worth it because this project is shaping up to be something I have never seen before, and I know you haven't either. So stay tuned because this is going to be awesome. This is the moment we've been waiting for. Cody and the excavator over here, Brent in the other one. Bjorn's bringing in a bigger machine so we could start really making some headway on excavation. This is one of the details I wanted our team to be a part of just because of the fine details that need to be accounted for. Elevations are very, very tight. The shape is very, very critical. We originally had it marked out. When we were here on our last trip, we realized because of the scale of the boulders we had to work with, we want to open things up a little bit more. So that's actually what we're doing right now. We're bringing in the big guns. So he's going to come in and really just start making some headway over here so we could get our liner in here. Ideally by tomorrow, we'll get all this cleaned up. We have multiple layers of protection going underneath everything, and that is due to animals, due to the extreme environment here of Africa. So we want to make sure that we are going to be creating a long-term feature for our client. We're getting into a little bit of rock, as you can tell, but thankfully we got a big old machine. The rock, it fractures, so it's brittle. Hammering to do, but we're just about done. The rest of our team is over here working inside of some of these utility trenches. What we're doing right now is coming over with a layer of sand over the pipe work, but now we're getting to the point where we can start backfilling, and that is a critical point for me because I want to make sure that we could effectively utilize our team that has come all the way from the United States as well as Ghana to keep us very, very functional throughout the entire process. So I want to get our team down below to start setting some of the large boulders, and the reason that's important right now is we can get rain at any point. So we want to make sure that we get all of those stones done down at the bottom, because if we start getting rain, that's going to block us off and it will change the entire flow of the project. So we want to make sure we can handle those details. We have a series of these poly pipes. Those are operating return water for the swimming pool, covering them all in a jacket of sand, and that sand is going to infiltrate around and help to support the pipes. Now the pipes in this section are actually running through PVC sleeve as well. Now it's jacketed some of the sand layer. Now we can start coming over the top with our backfill material. So this sand will be spread out. Here's those same pipes covered in with the inside of those PVC sleeves. So what Cody's doing right now, he's got a piece of this rebar. He's marking that corner. That corner is a critical one. They want to have access to that for maintenance potentially in the future in case they need to do any work. They could pull pipes out of these sleeves. We're going to have to focus our waterfall cascade in between that corner and right about here. So we have plenty of room to work with, and then our pump vaults and everything are going to be located down in the lower section, down by the water. So anytime I'm designing and building a custom water feature, I'm always thinking of the small details. So we have multiple things happening at this point of the project. You can see we're basically done with the main excavation. Now what our team is doing is coming in, removing all the small stones from the bottom. It's a very, very simple task, but it's very, very effective. By removing them, we're protecting the membrane. So remember, we're putting in a rubber membrane that'll last for decades if you do the proper preparation. The other thing that we're doing is we're coming in with a few inches of sand just to level everything out, but it's also creating a bedding for the large boulders. So when they are put into position, it kind of locks them in place, but it also provides a secondary layer of protection below the subgrade. You can see all the rock that we've chipped out. So the subsoil here, very, very rocky. So coming in with a layer of sand is just a very cheap and effective way to protect that membrane for many, many years to come. Section over here is going to be one of my favorites. This is a shallow ledge, fairly shallow right now. This is about 5 feet tall. We're going to come in with a giant slab of stone coming right through here. I want to make it look like this was a rocky ridge that has always been here for thousands of years, and the fast-moving water has carved its way and created this plunge pool over in this area. This will then make a pier to connect to the pond down at the bottom. Final step, coming in back with our excavator over here to bring in some of the sand. We're then going to dismantle that ramp that has been installed so we can work our way out of the excavation. Once we're done with everything, then we will come in with our geotextiles, cover that with our rubber membrane, and then another layer of the heavy-duty geotextile to create that waterproof barrier that will give us many, many years of function. Tons of good progress happening here. We did our subgrade yesterday. We did the sand layer, compacted everything. Now we're going through the necessary layers of precautionary components for a long-term solution for this project. We have the concrete cloth that's going to protect everything from bedrock that's underneath everything. We then came over the top with our heavy-duty geotextile material. This is a 16-ounce material, very, very heavy-duty, very high tensile strength, and it's going to spread the weight of the large rocks out over a bigger area, so it's going to get rid of any of the point loads. Next step after this is there's going to be some termite spray that's actually going to be placed on top of this to prevent any animals and things like that from actually getting underneath the actual water feature. After that, we'll come over the top with our rubber membrane. Then we're going to do another layer of this material over the top of everything. Then we're ready to start setting them. First rock sets the stage for everything. Doing the necessary precautions. The first one coming in is 15 tons. So actually we have a 10-tonner going over here and a 15-ton rock going right here. We're going to do a lot of smaller stuff down here on the bottom. So I'm not worried about concrete cloth there. Again, I'm just looking for that extra cautionary stuff. We're also putting a little bit of crushed rock down below because we created that trench for our block wall. It's going to tie directly into the end of this large rock. So this large rock is going to kind of set the stage. It's going to slope all the way from the patio all the way down to the bottom. Rock going in, always a good sign. The big crane here, just because of the reach that we're going to need and the weight. That is a 10.5-ton rock, so we're looking at 11,000-ish pounds, and that rock is going to go right up over here at the base of this terrace. Once that one's in place, we'll be able to come around, all of our smaller stone over on the base. Perfect way to start it out. Pushing the limit actually of the crane. We said he can take about 13.5 tons at this distance, so we're just shy of that. The official first rock. The first one was a bit of a failure. Didn't work over in that corner for a few reasons, which we will not discuss at this point. We have repositioned this rock. First rock going in, going to start a small peninsula. Actually, that will be above water level. Trying to set the stage there, and then we're going to come over here with a couple big guys afterwards. All right, we are coming in with some more large rocks. We have our team over on the other side in the staging zone, grabbing all the rocks for us. We're bringing them over, setting them with the crane, so we're getting a good system going. We're getting some rocks staged for us for blocking up underneath everything. The design parameters that I'm working off of is trying to have a series of ridge lines going through that are going to be very pronounced. Those are going to be the main visual that we're going for, and all the angles were set off of this trajectory or vector from a distance. It's going to look like a series of fractures and ridges going through everything. And those lines are going to continue not only through the pond, but all the way down through the lower cascade, as well as through the main stream section. These stones might look a little bit odd right now, but depending upon your angles, you're going to see it a little bit better. So here's the angles that I'm going for. And what we'll do is we're going to actually come off of this lower one with another lower one kind of going out. So it looks like this stuff just disappears down into the bedrock. This one we have to make sure that the angles are right, but also the elevation is right, and the aesthetics, because it's going to be highly visible right here from the terrace. So we want to make sure it picks up the lines that we're looking for. Trying to take our time to make sure that it's going to fit. All right. Well, it is obviously dark. The lights are out, so we are all set up. We still got the crane. The reason we're trying to get a few more of these in this evening is this big crane is going to go up in the mountains tomorrow and grab a few of the large boulders that we have identified for usage inside the feature. What we want to try to do is finish off this corner over here, and then we'll be able to pull that crane out. We may set one or two more while we're here, but we want to make sure we get that one in, and then tomorrow we're going to start to focus on this upper ledge. Each rock is individual. It's just a giant jigsaw puzzle. So we're looking at shapes, we're looking at sizes, we're looking at different dimensions as well as weights, because that crane could only push so much out at this distance. So we're working on putting in our circulation jets. Anytime I'm doing a design, I'm always thinking about how the water's going to flow through the entire system. We call ourselves pond guys. We're actually more river guys, because everything we have a consistent flow going from point A to point B. We have water being discharged at the top high elevations. It's going to cascade down through everything through the series of rivers, and then we're going to have a big plunge pool coming into this pond system. When you have all that high velocity water coming in, this turns into a sediment trap. So what we're going to do to counteract that is we have a series of underwater jets. So we're going with larger diameter. We're going to have 500 gallons a minute, which is 30,000 gallons per hour for 4 of these jet systems. Then we have another system on the other side. We're going to sweep all that stuff over our negative edge waterfall, which is going to deposit all that sediment down into a reservoir where it could be removed periodically. That reservoir is just going to be a huge sedimentation trap. We have a series of our aqua block panels, which is going to thoroughly mix the water for us, and that's going to give us the desired water quality. Lines of materials coming in, a combination of the cobblestones coming from the surrounding mountainside, and then we also have a mixture of crushed stone, which we are backfilling behind all the large boulders to give us the necessary structural rigidity that we're looking for. It's also going to be a bedding for bigger stones that will be positioned on the backside of these large ones. So the goal, as you can see here, is to create that layered effect, exactly what we're seeing and evaluating up in the surrounding mountainsides. So our goal is to basically take all the stuff that we're seeing up in nature, reconstructing it back down inside of our decorative water feature to give us the cohesive look that we're looking for. We're bringing in our first large stone. When I was back here in March, we tagged this rock thinking about this water feature, and here we are 6 months later actually getting ready for it. This was found at the base of this large mountain outcropping, and it just spoke to me. So this is the one that has to go in. So it's great to see it on site here. Loving today's progress. Actually, we did some incredible work yesterday, getting all the big boulders in as well as some of the smaller cobblestones. Now we're coming in a mixture of large, medium, and small river stone, which is going to give us that naturalistic look that we're going for this custom water feature. You can see all the different sizes that we have to work with here. So I love these guys. I mean, just look at all the different colors that we have. Perfect texture, nice and smooth. This is very, very important, not only from an aesthetic standpoint, because we're transitioning and having a little bit of contrast. I like to have a nice bright bottom. I think it makes everything kind of pop out a little bit more. Having a mixture of different sizes is very important from a functional standpoint. Different types of microorganisms and different types of macroinvertebrates are going to inhabit all this stuff. Bigger openings over here, which is going to allow some of those bigger insects and things to crawl around in the bottom, which are going to feed on the detritus. And then over here we have the smaller stones. This is going to get that epilithic material growing out of it. So that's going to be the biofilms, the small algae. The fish are going to be able to pick up and move this smaller material versus this one. So you're going to see different cycling of the materials down in the bottom. So we're always thinking of all these little details as we design and build custom water features on any scale. Block walls are going in all over the place. We got the one down below. Got this one back here is already completed. Finishing the smaller boulders going in. Now we got another giant rock coming in over here. It's going to drop in right at the edge. It's going to frame out the edge of our negative edge. So that water is going to be coursing right in between both of those. We're making awesome progress. Over on this side, we're filling in. We're starting to do some of those finishing details. Backfilling a bit over here to create a planting pocket. We're coming in with more of these big cobblestones, and then we're grading it down to finer and finer stones. We're also putting in all of the recirculating jets. This is a very odd shape of the pond, so we want to make sure that we have discharge points strategically located to ensure that all the water is going to get pushed over this weir. And what a weir is, if you're not familiar with that, it's a low level area that's going to be cut out and be very even. As this fills up with water from the pumps located on the other side, it's going to crest over that. It's going to drop down to a lower elevation on the opposite side of this embankment. From a viewing angle from this terrace, this is going to give the illusion that this drops down and it continues connecting to the large lake. In the next week or so, I also want to install a 50,000 gallon underground reservoir, which is going to take a lot of work. We've been focusing our efforts on the edge of the lake here. I was originally not planning on doing it down here. I was going to focus on some other areas, but due to the potential rainy period, our water level is normally going to be way up here, and then it will drop down. So we're approximately 10 feet below normal water level. We wanted to take advantage of that, so we're coming in with all of this rock work, and then this rock work will support the waterfall. That is going to give us the illusion that the main water feature is connected to this lake. Hundreds and hundreds of acres of land is going to drain into this system. If we potentially get any rainfall, this lake system could actually overflow very quickly. And if that happens, that blocks our access to building all of this stonework. So our goal for the rest of the day today is going to be to continue tying that rock work into that opposite shoreline. So there's always different types of challenges on any type of a construction project. So we have multiple factors that we're dealing with on this one. One, we are on the other side of the world, so a little bit of jet lag, time changes, all that fun stuff kind of throws things off a bit. The next one is heat. It is starting to get into the warmer part of the year here. Not too bad until midday, and then it really starts to warm up. So the next one, just job site logistics. I mean, look at this. We have crane truck over here, the big Cat 352 in the back, backhoe over here, Mini X down over on the end, another big wheel loader who is coming in as we speak with more fill soil. We also have contractors down on the bottom pouring concrete for our pump vaults. We're doing some masonry block work. I'm waiting on the electrician to come on out. So just lots and lots of moving parts. This is one of the fun parts of construction, is just managing the actual job site, making sure that everything is flowing as smoothly as possible. There's always going to be challenges. Thankfully, the incredible team here in Southern Africa is just phenomenal. Everybody is really excited about what we're doing. Everybody just wants to pitch in and help. It's fantastic. A mixture of manpower coming in from around the world.